Yo, how's it going everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here and welcome to another review of the Pokemon Journey series. We're going to be covering episode 63 in today's review. It involves Ash, Go, and Koharu entering a water obstacle course race thingamajig in the Hoenn region. Yeah, not really much else to say. The episode was mostly filler. There was some nice moments in the episode, but yeah, mostly a filler episode. But how was the episode overall? Well, before I get into the episode review, I just want to say if you like this type of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It'd be pretty cool if you did that. Anyways, let's get into the review, shall we? The episode begins with Ash, Go, and the others watching TV at the Sakuragi Labs on that digital TV in the middle of the lab. I don't know how they actually get to use that thing. That thing's kind of weird, actually. But anyways, they're watching TV, and they're happening to watch a race, and this race happens to be the Pokemon Marine Athletics race, which is taking place in Lily Cove City in the Hoenn region. Ash and Go are Ash and Go. They're super excited about the race. Koharu, on the other hand, she's very indifferent like she always is. But Eevee over here is actually super excited because Eevee actually likes the Vaporeon that's actually taking part in the race. That actually ends up winning the race. And Professor Sakuragi has to remind Koharu that, yeah, remember, Vaporeon is one of the evolutions for Eevee. One of many possibilities for Eevee to evolve in. Koharu gets a flashback to when she first got Eevee, talking to that professor from the Eevee Institute, but basically said that her Eevee actually has more unstable genes than even the normal, typical Eevee. So maybe it's a little hesitant to evolve. And by complete coincidence, Kikuna over here actually knows the dude that owns Vaporeon that won this race. His name is Kairi, and he's a pretty nice dude. And Koharu actually gets curious, seeing how, enthusiastic Eevee was watching that race. Actually wants to go and visit Hoenn and visit this guy so she can learn a little bit more about Eevee and its evolutions. And Ash and Go also want to accompany her because, well, they're Ash and Go. They're research fellows and they want to travel around the world, so of course they're going to go. So obviously Professor Sakuragi and his infinite money sends them off to the Hoenn region. I seriously don't know how this guy just keeps sending them all over the world. He's got to be hustling some way or another. I don't know how he gets all this money. But anyways, our trio head off to the Hoenn region. They meet up with Kairi. Their Pokemon end up interacting, which is pretty cool. But Kairi over here actually mentions to them that, hey, by the way, there's a junior division for the Pokemon Marine Athletics race, and you guys should enter it. And they all decide to enter it. You don't have to have a Water-type Pokemon to enter it, so Eevee can enter it if she wants to. So Koharu enters Eevee, Ash enters Dracovish, and Go enters Dugong. So they end up training for the race, which they actually train for quite a bit. They go through the obstacle course. And the main highlights here, at least that I thought were the main highlights, were Dracovish actually can't really swim very well on the surface of water, but when it gets to the bottom, it can just run on the bottom and run really fast. I don't know if that's technically cheating or not, but whatever. But the other highlight is that Dugong over here is actually in love with a Gorbis that it actually just saw swimming around. So after training is done for the day, they're having dinner. Next day is a competition, and Koharu actually asks Kairi over here, hey, what inspired you to evolve your Eevee into Vaporeon? So to get some background, he actually explains kind of the backstory here, which he's a surfer. So Eevee was watching him surf, and one day wanted to surf with him, and so the evolution was actually pretty natural. Eevee wanted to, be a water-type Pokemon, as it's near the water all the time, so Eevee evolved into Vaporeon, touching a water stone, and boom. Yeah. Now about Koharu's Eevee. What exactly is this Eevee going to evolve into? Well, the interesting thing here is that Koharu doesn't want to force Eevee to evolve. Koharu wants Eevee to choose for itself, instead of forcing it. So, yeah. That's pretty nice. Anyways, the next day comes, and the Junior Pokemon Marine Athletics race begins. Now, there's not really much to say about the race itself. It just kind of goes on as normal. But towards the end of the race, Dugong over here actually notices a Gorbis, which it saw the previous day that it was in love with, so it goes off course and goes to pursue it. Eevee sees this and follows, and Koharu notices that Eevee is following Dugong over here and follows the two of them. And they get into some shenanigans because Dugong gets a little jealous of Huntail over here as it's pursuing Gorbis, and they get into quite a bit of a scuffle here. And it leads Koharu, Dugong, and Eevee go into a cave, in which they end up getting blocked in the cave because Dugong uses an ice beam attack on Huntail over here. but this angers Huntail. It uses a rock-type move and seals them in the cave. But anyways, Ash and Go get to the end of the race, and they're trying to decide who won the race. Well, technically Go didn't win because Dugong got away, and Dracovish didn't exactly hit that bell earlier, so I don't think Ash won either. There wasn't really a conclusion to the race, by the way, which was slightly disappointing, I'm not going to lie. But anyways, they're wondering where Koharu and Eevee are at, and Go notices that Dugong is also gone as well. That's when they realize that there's some trouble afoot. They eventually figure out what's going on, and Dracovish, it's funny, because they notice that Koharu and Eevee and Dugong are stuck in the cave, and Dracovish over here is just using water gun on the frickin' rocks, and Go over here is like, Ash, does Dracovish know something other than water gun? And eventually Ash has to talk to Dracovish because he doesn't know himself. And probably why, because you don't really train the Pokemon Ash. You need to use Dracovish more. Just saying. Anyways, he ends up using Bite on the rocks and ends up breaking them out, saving Koharu, Eevee, and Dugong. Nice. Anyways, Huntail over here is still pretty angry and goes for the attack and tries to attack them. That's when Vaporeon shows up and Kyrie also shows up as well. And Vaporeon uses Hydro Pump to hold back Huntail. And Eevee, using Copycat, also uses Hydro Pump, and they manage to defeat Huntail over here. Nice. Anyways, for whatever reason, Dugong and Huntail actually end up making up. And Gorbis shows back up, and Dugong actually thinks that Gorbis is going to accept its love now. Turns out that Gorbis is actually in love with Huntail. So, yeah, Dugong got rejected. You know, I know how you feel, buddy. You know, I've had the same thing happen to me, but you know what? You'll find somebody better. One day. Now, as the episode draws to an end, Kyrie over here actually gives Koharu a Water Stone for Eevee. And Koharu goes over to Eevee, shows Eevee the Water Stone, and asks Eevee if she wants to evolve into Vaporeon. Eevee kind of takes a look at it for a second, and ultimately decides not to. Obviously, it's got a lot of possibilities. It has to think very carefully, and obviously, it thought about it, and decided it didn't want to evolve into Vaporeon. So, you know, there's other options it has, and Koharu will obviously look into these other options in the future. But, for now, Eevee just wants to be Eevee, and that's where the episode comes to an end. Now, overall, I thought this episode was pretty mediocre, if I'm being completely honest. Nothing really too special. The plot in this episode was pretty basic. The Dugong and Huntail portion of the episode was kind of basic. I wasn't really a big fan of that, if I'm being completely honest, because at the end of the day, Dugong got rejected. Go didn't catch the Gorbis like he tried during the training portion of the episode. And speaking of the training portion, besides a few funny moments, those parts of the episode were pretty boring and uninteresting, if I'm being completely honest. The race kind of also felt like an afterthought as well, because there wasn't even a conclusion to the race. We don't even know who won this race. So, at the end of the day, why do I even have to care about this race? So what saved this episode for me was Koharu and Eevee, because what they're doing here is they're setting up this plotline where Koharu wants Eevee to choose its evolution for itself, and wants to learn more about the other evolutions. I feel like this is setting up future episodes for this similar type of plotline where Koharu goes and meets another one of Eevee's evolutions like Flareon, Jolteon, Leafeon, for example. And maybe gets the opportunity to have Eevee evolve into one of these Pokemon, and maybe Eevee decides not to. It's up to Eevee at the end of the day whether it wants to evolve into Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, any of the evolutions, or just stay an Eevee. It's really ultimately up to itself at the end of the day. So I'm really curious to see where this plotline goes from here. But yeah, I really like what Koharu did in this episode. Not forcing Eevee to choose its evolution. It's allowing Eevee to choose for itself. So yeah, I like that a lot. Alrighty guys, that's pretty much all I got for this episode review. So overall, a very average, very mediocre episode in my opinion. With some nice moments with Eevee, Koharu, and Dracovish was kind of funny, I guess. So maybe like a 4 out of 10, 4.5 out of 10 episode. Not really that great of an episode in my opinion. So guys, in the comment section down below, what did you think of this episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Post your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day, everyone. Or night. Whatever. Peace.